Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr.
And I'm Cindy Baldwin.
And you're listening to the midweek version of Fiber Talk, the twice weekly podcast for needlework artists. And tonight we're going to stitch and chat. Beth and I are probably going to talk about our painted canvases, but we'll have other things too. So if you don't do the painted canvas, you won't be left out. Join us for that at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on the YouTube channel. And next Wednesday, we will not have a show. There will not be a Stitch Hour show next Wednesday because we will be at the EGA seminar opening dinner. But there will be live shows next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern on the YouTube channel. So you won't get cheated. You'll get no Wednesday, but three live shows, and they'll be recorded as always. So if you can't join us live, you'll be able to see it afterwards. And, of course, that helps the European people who would prefer to sleep instead of get up in the middle of the night to listen to us jammer. So, but anyway, we'll be covering the EGA seminar, the Labor Day weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so we'll have those 3 live shows, and then we'll have other interviews, videos, tours, whatever we can put together during the days. And we'll have those all available too. So that will be next week. So that's our schedule. Sunday will be Lila Umstead of Lila Studio. She'll be our guest Sunday. So we'll have Stitch Hour tonight, this podcast, Lila Umstead on Sunday. Then next Wednesday, there will not be a podcast or a live Stitch Hour show, but then it will be with you Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in many different ways. So just a shift in the normal schedule. But looking forward to bringing everybody the as much of the EGA seminar as we can. Now, Cindy, you've been in the past to 1 or 2 seminars of one kind or another, right? Because I've never been, so this is a new experience.
Yeah, I've been to both EGA and ANG seminars, probably a couple of each, but it has been a long time.
Yeah, but fun, educational, meet a lot of people, the whole shooting match.
Oh, absolutely. The banquets are fun. You sit with different people and get to meet new people, or, sit with a teacher and get to talk to them like a normal person instead of, just a teacher.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun and a great opportunity to learn.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. And I'm really looking forward to the exhibit, because if the exhibit, if the gallery section on the EGA website is any indication, that exhibit's probably going to blow my mind. Yeah.
It will.
Good.
Guarantee it.
Good.
It's pretty amazing. So I've never entered an EGA exhibit, but I did enter an ANG exhibit one year.
Yeah.
And of course, there's just tons of people entering, professional as well as amateurs, and I didn't enter with any expectation of winning anything. It's just, it's fun to display your work.
Yeah.
Win anything. But it was fun to see what other things were in the category that I entered, and yeah.
Well, it's a good experience. I mean, just the whole process of finishing a piece and getting it framed or whatever, and shipping it and having it judged, and of course there you're going to get some feedback, and that whole experience has just got to be really beneficial.
I actually was hoping for feedback, but I didn't get as much.
Oh no.
For. So it's been a long, long time ago, so I don't really remember exactly what kind of feedback there was, but it wasn't maybe as specific as I would have liked. But there's a whole lot of stuff they've got to judge. So
right, that's too bad.
Like Cindy said when you interviewed her about judging, you have a certain amount of time and a lot of stuff to get through.
Yeah. I don't envy the judges, just in general for that very thing there. Plus, I'm sure you scan through the thing, you see the standouts, and then all right, now I got to be constructive about all the others, but I know what ones are going to win. And, I'm sure there's different mental processes for different people as they judge. And that's tough job. Tough job.
But it really is just, it's so neat to see all the different things that people do and the caliber of the work. And you can see it fairly close.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like several feet away, it's on a table, and you can't put your nose right on it, but you can get pretty close to see the workmanship. And
mm-hmm.
It's very, very impressive.
Well, see, for me, I project. All right, you always see the winners that it appears in a magazine or on the website or whatever. Here's all the winners, and you think, all right, those were the best, and those are stunning. I gotta believe there was a whole bunch of people who were close, and that makes it equally stunning. And then now the overall experience has just gotta, I'm not worthy.
You don't know. I would say you probably are worthy.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Yeah.
No, like you say, it's an opportunity to get some feedback, even if it's maybe not as much as you would like.
Mm-hmm.
But there isn't really any other way usually to get somebody's feedback, because most of us aren't nearby anybody or have anybody in our chapters that's a certified judge, because there just aren't that many of them.
Yeah.
So you don't, there's articles in the magazines about judging, and they talk about what kinds of things to look for. And, you and Cindy talked about that at length, but it's not the same thing as having a judge look at your piece and say, your tension is really good, but, you're, I don't know, you did something weird here. And, that real specific kind of information that would really help you improve your technique or your whatever it happens to be.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I think, I don't know if I would enter a competition, and I don't know why. I don't have a legitimate reason for not doing that. I'm not afraid of the critique, and I certainly would appreciate a qualified judge evaluating my work because of what I'd learn out of that. If you got the feedback, I think for me, it would be, what would be most valuable would be to sit down with a judge. And of course, like you said, there aren't that many of them, and to get someone to do it. But to sit down and just here's two of my pieces. I think these are pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
These are pretty good. As a judge, take me through them. Deconstruct them. I was going to say tear them apart, but I'm being positive here. But deconstruct them and show me what you see as an impartial person that could be improved, or that was not done right, or on the other side of it, things that were really done well. And because there's two sides to that whole thing, I think that would be really instructive, to the point where I would even pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me an hour of your time and your eyes, and bring your magnifier, and just take me through two pieces. I think that would be money well spent.
You know what? You mentioned when we were talking before that you're going to talk to Natalie Dupuis. Why don't you take one of your pieces and have her look at it as part of her prep for her judging?
Now, there's a good idea. Yeah. That's a good one. Okay.
More practice.
Yeah. Here, Natalie. Learn
Yeah.
learn and teach me at the same time. Yeah. Okay. I can grab one. That would be good. Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
Now I want to hear it.
Well, I'd share it. Yeah. Here's what we did.
Yeah.
Okay, good idea. Yeah, because I just think that because then you would be able to ask questions. Because that's the thing with judging, is you get the feedback, but you don't know who the judge is, and you don't get to have that discussion because, of course, there's no time, and I mean, there's just no way that could happen. But to have that discussion with someone who is trained to look for things would be really valuable.
And the judge isn't going to have time, when judging a competition, to write down everything that they see. They're going to hit the high points.
Yeah.
And move on.
Right. Okay. Well, that's a good idea, Natalie. I got a job for you. I'm bringing a piece.
Is she teaching a class too?
I don't think so. I think she's there to learn. We're going to interview her for sure, but she's there working on her certificate, her judging certificate. So,
okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. Natalie's one, but several others that we've done shows with. I'm looking forward to. I hope a lot of them are there to meet face to face because, audio only. Yeah, you get an hour and a half, but to actually meet someone would be fun. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
It is.
So Iowa State Fair. Tell me about your experience. You're a regular contributor to the needlework entries.
Yes, I have exhibited almost every year since 82 or 83. I don't remember when I entered my first piece. Out of all that time, I've missed maybe 3 at the most years.
That's
some
impressive.
years I only have one thing entered, but I've managed to get something in most every year.
That's impressive. Now, do you do this because there's a group of you that all get together and enter, or is this just something you just do because you enjoy it?
It started out I just do because I enjoyed it. And when I moved to Iowa, I lived in Des Moines.
Uh-huh.
So it was easy to enter, and the people that I worked with actually took me to the fair. I started my new job like the week that the fair started that year.
Oh.
So they took me to the fair. And so I'd never been to a fair before and didn't know what to expect and thought, really had a lot of fun. And that's when I found out about fabric and threads, and, I'd been stitching forever. So I thought, well, what the heck, I'll enter something. And the first piece I entered, I got a first place ribbon on. And so then I was kind of hooked after that. So then when I several years later, I joined EGA in Iowa City, where I live now. And, I was entering. And so I encouraged other people to enter. And so we've kind of got a fairly good sized group over here in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa City corridor that enters projects every year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that adds to the fun then. So,
yep.
Do you know ahead of time? Do you share what you're entering, or is everybody really secretive until it's hung up at the show?
Yeah, some people are secretive.
Okay.
Well, that doesn't mean that I don't necessarily, I might see it before, but they don't bring it to the meeting.
Okay.
Done and show it to everybody. They wait until after the fair and bring it with the ribbon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The EGA A&G meetings, usually there's a show and tell or show and share or whatever. So when I get something done, I bring it.
Yeah.
And then I get back after the fair.
Mm-hmm. Because that would be a fun program, either before or after the fair, would be to everybody sit around, and of course you'd have to be careful, but give me your feedback on this thing. I didn't get a ribbon. Why? What do you see here that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've never done that, but usually we do, encourage people to bring their fair entries to the next meeting after the fair ends, so that everybody can see it in person.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't really pick things apart. We just ooh and ah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I suppose feelings would be hurt and things would not go well. So yeah, probably not a good move. Yeah. So dare I ask how you did this year?
So I had 3 entries, and I got 1 third place ribbon this year.
Okay.
And that was on the little cross stitch baby birth thing that I did for my grand nephew that has the little airplane on it.
Oh,
I
yes.
sent you that last time.
Yes.
The table runner that was black work, I did not get a ribbon on. And the judge, so there's, for the state fair, they judge on appearance, workmanship, and finishing, and that's a 1 through 5, with 1 is the worst and 5 is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So appearance on the table runner was 3, and that's cleanliness, design, and use of color. Workmanship was a 5, and that is appropriate use of base material, choice of fibers, even tension on all stitches, proper starts and finishes of threads or yarns, no knots or loose ends, no stamping shows, all cross stitches go the same way. Well, it wasn't cross stitch, but
yeah.
So she liked my workmanship, and finishing I got a 3, and that is placement in frame, appropriateness of frame, matting, hanger in place, pillow form fits, no quote unquote rabbit ears. So then on the comments, she said, nice work, fabric overpowers stitching. So I don't disagree with that. I had that. It's a band that I got from Sassy Jacks Stitchery.
Mm-hmm.
And I had it mounted. The fabric that we used for the table runner is a batik that has the same colors. So it's purples and oranges, and it's in the same kind of color saturation. So the needlework doesn't really stand out.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I agree with that. I kind of fell in love with the batik because it matched the colors so well,
Mm-hmm.
but I really looked for something that was darker.
Oh, okay.
So that the needlework would have been the focal point rather than kind of getting lost.
That's interesting. So it's, but obviously when you stitched it, then you liked it all the way through. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I used 2 different threads. That band was 28 count linen, and I used a water lilies over dye and it's called molten lava. So it's purples and oranges, and then a solid purple for the borders,
Mm-hmm.
each little box. And my finisher managed to finagle the lace edging around the ends, so the lace edging kind of goes all the way around.
Oh.
On the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy with the piece. I could have chosen a better piece of fabric, but that's okay. It's all right. I like the colors, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah. Well, that's ultimately all that matters, because it's in your house, not the judge's. So.
That's exactly right. Oh, the third piece was Debbie Rowley's, mostly Amadeus.
Oh yeah.
And I chose her bold colorway, which was the orange and blue and purple on the mint green canvas.
Mm-hmm.
I put a bright orange frame on it, and the judge did not like that. She gave me a 3 for appearance, a 5 for workmanship, a 2 for finishing.
Ooh.
And she
Ouch.
framed from overall look, stitches are beautiful.
Ouch.
So, ouch, yeah. I personally love the frame, but it's orange. Orange isn't for everybody, and
Nope.
It is, and it's bold. So I don't disagree with her. I mean, I do disagree with her, but that's one of the things that you
Yeah.
have to live with. Again, it's in my house. I like it, so.
Yep. Yeah, and that is the trouble with colors like orange and yellow. Yeah, they can send some people to the exit, and other people like them, and it's tough call. But
So I took a class with Tony Maneri one time, and he said something that just kind of like blew my mind and totally set me free. And that is basically, he said, you do not buy a painting that matches your couch. So why do all of your needlework in colors that match your decor? Because up to that point in time, I had been, and, so blues and purples and that kind of stuff. I've got all kinds of stuff like that in my living room. And after that, then I started doing the yellows and oranges, and those are still in my living room.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
Ouch. So yeah, it's and I do see a lot of people in like on Facebook, that are talking about choosing their colors to match their decor. But you don't have to. It's art. If you like something, do it. Put it on your wall, even if it clashes with your couch.
That's okay. I can see where that would be freeing. Now, for me, I'm not in charge of decorating here at the homestead, so I do what I want, and the decorator decides whether it gets hung, and that's just the way it is. So I've never had that encumbrance, but if you're also in charge of decorating, I can see why you'd say, well, I can't really hang that here because it clashes with this, but you need to separate the two and say, but also I want to enjoy stitching it, and I like these colors, so that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of wonder what kind of frame the judge would have put on it.
Brown.
Wood.
Yeah. Oak.
Which would have been boring. But getting ribbons, winning is not the reason that I put my work in the fair exhibit. It's to, show people what kinds of things can be done. And, I've stood around over the years and listened to people and they're just like, wow, I've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
And, then, if it happens to be your piece, I actually was a few years ago standing next to one of our members who'd done a really cool Bargello piece, and people in the crowd were standing next to us and talking about it. So Corinne just turned around and said, yeah, that's my piece. So, what would you like to know about it? And explained to them what the technique was and how it was done. And, so it's a learning opportunity for people that get to the Fabric and Threads exhibit.
Yeah.
And there's always people from the Fabric and Threads department there to answer questions. A lot of times there are people from the different groups demonstrating, and they do stuff obviously besides the needlework. There's quilts and knitting and crochet and clothing and tatting, even tatting.
Oh,
that's a big thing at the fair. There's quite a few people in Iowa that tat.
Yeah, that's interesting. That always seems like such an obscure thing. Yeah.
But it's a class that they offer make it take classes, little short 2-hour classes that we were talking to the superintendent, and she said people expect the tatting classes.
Really?
So she was kind of, waffling this year about whether or not she should offer classes because of COVID, and she didn't know if anybody would be, even want to sit down at a table and take a class, but people did. So
people want the tatting. That's most interesting. I've never tried it. It doesn't interest me. So
I've tried needle tatting because we had somebody in our guild that needle tatted, but you work too hard for the little bit. I mean, it's worse than, cross stitch takes forever to cover something. I guess that's one of the reasons I like needlepoint.
Yeah.
But thing was even worse. So, again, that's one of the great things about the guilds. It gives you an opportunity to learn different things and decide whether or not you like doing them.
Yeah. 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 I always have that reaction when I see bobbin lace, because I find it absolutely fascinating to watch and try to figure out how they're doing it. But then I look at all that for that, you know,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, but it's an inch. And then I think back to, back in the ancient times when there were people who made lace for a living.
Yeah.
And I think, oh, the hours and just to get 6 inches of lace. Wow. Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, it's beautiful and it's amazing techniques, but yeah, it's a slow mover on that pillow. It's not coming out the end of that pillow very fast. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
But I assume all those things, there's other aspects like just the rhythm of doing it and, relaxing and all those things, but yeah.
I suppose, it has its own meditative quality.
Right.
Once you get into your pattern and know where you're going, you just. So did Isabella of Isabella Prior Attire had a little video.
Yes.
Because she does that too. Did you see that? It was
I
just
did.
a few days ago that showed her manipulating the bobbins, and man, when they get good, they can go really, really fast.
I know. Yeah. No, yeah, that's why it came to mind, because I'd seen that. Yeah, for people who have not checked it out, Isabella Pitcher, Prior Attire, Prior Attire, as in old clothes. She is one of the most amazing, versatile talents I think I've ever seen, no matter what it is, because she, a sewing machine, she's a master, but her ability to create out of nothing, out of an old picture from an old lithograph or something, to create Georgian clothing or Elizabethan or whatever it is, authentic, and to create buttons and all the parts that go with that stuff is just amazing. And then, and then she'll sit down and just embroider something like it's just, all right, I got to do this. So she'll embroider something and it looks beautiful. And and then, the next thing she's making lace. Lady, really, what can't you do? And, she's amazing. And then on top of it, videos and photography, because her husband is a superb photographer.
Oh, yeah.
Really good. Yeah. Oh, it's the full package. I mean, Lucas is his name, and he photographs her a lot, obviously, and I'm sure he does a lot. He shows sometimes other things that he does, but he's just excellent at it. He just captures her. He captures the clothes in the right light, and, they're always in some field of flowers or somewhere, and it's just every time she posts, it's a treat. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah, I really look forward to seeing them.
Yeah. And what she's done 2 books.
Yeah, I think maybe working on a third one.
Yeah, yeah. And, and the fun, and then, of course, she rides a horse, but side saddle.
Yeah.
Because that's authentic. And then, so she's creating clothing for side saddle riding. And she's just amazing. She really is. Yep. One of a kind.
So we have a chapter of the Lace Guild I think up in Cedar Rapids, and they do bobbin lace, I think mostly. And again, it's just amazing to sit and watch them.
Yeah. It's hypnotizing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. First time I saw it was at one of those tourist type things where, we do everything in this little village the way it was done in 1842 or whatever it was. And there was this lady, I didn't even know what it was, but there was this lady doing bobbin lace and literally just flying. And I stood there, and the rest of the family wanted to move on. And I just said, just go, see what you want to see. I'm watching this lady because I want to figure out what she's doing. I never did.
Yeah, they move so fast that you can't figure it out.
No.
Speaking of lace, you get that Italian magazine, right?
Right.
I forget the name of it.
Giuliana Ricama or something like that, yes.
Right. Did you read the article about the young man that is a master lace maker?
I did not, because that magazine was shipped to our old home, and a friend of ours has it, and I'll be getting that next week.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it's the most recent edition. It has a seahorse or a mermaid or something on the front cover.
Okay.
This young man, and he's in his 20s, I think, started doing lace when he was, I don't know, like 4 or 5, watching his mother and his grandmother, the women in his family do this, and he wanted to learn how to do it. Oh my God, he is just, it's amazing what he does.
Does he do it as a hobby?
No. I think that's what he does. He's a master lace maker.
Wow.
It's Italian lace. I don't think it's bobbin lace. It's been a while since I read the article, and I don't have it close by. But
Wow.
You'll be amazed when you get to read it.
Okay. All right, I'll look for that. Wow. Imagine that, starting out like that as a kid, and when you get to an adult, you're still doing it, and you're now a master at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because at some point as a kid, you'd think you'd burn out on it and just say, I don't want to do this anymore. Or, a guy doing lace would get laughed out of school. And
right. He probably did.
Yeah. Stuck it out. Oh, now I really want to read it. Okay. Yep. Juliana Racama, is that right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good magazine. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, you mentioned that one of the criteria, and Beth and I were talking about this last week, one of the criteria in there was tension in the judging criteria.
Uh-huh.
And of course, we all, tension is one of those things. Is that something when you're stitching that has it become second nature to you? Are you, is it front of mind when you're stitching? How do you approach that? Do you work at it, or have you done it for so long and that you're pretty consistent?
I'm probably pretty consistent, but my tension is tight.
Okay.
So I can't. My mother stitches cross stitch in hand, and I cannot do that. Well, for one thing, my hand that's holding the fabric cramps up, and I can't open it. But I mean, she's almost 90, and she's still stitching in hand. Wow. I have to have a loop, or I have to have it mounted with a tight tension, or I pull those stitches way too tight. And my tension on my needlepoint is pretty firm too. So I don't think about it a lot unless I'm doing pulled thread. So I did a bazillion eyelets on a sampler that I did several years ago. And I worked really hard to get a consistent tension with those eyelets.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some other pulled thread work. So I did a number of years ago, our EGA chapter did a correspondence course that is a pulled thread piece on canvas, and it's in a shape of a quilt pattern. And the framer had a terrible time with it because it was so tight that he couldn't really get it. He really, really had to work at it to get it to stretch properly. And he actually had to steam it a little bit to get it to relax so that he could stretch it. I did it on stretcher bars, but pulled thread work, that's when you can really, really relax some of your stress.
Yeah.
Take it out on that fabric.
Yeah.
I did. So yeah, I do enough needlepoint that I don't pay too much attention to tension. When I switch back to cross stitch, I do have to think about it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Until I get back into the whole, okay, I'm doing over 2 threads of linen, don't scrunch it.
Yeah. See, that's where I have to work, is just that, because I tend to my needlepoint is tight, I like it tight. I like, yeah, you can get rid of a lot of tension doing that. But I like it that way, and I like it. It's crisp to me. But yeah, it's when I switch to something else, particularly linen, I am constantly having to remind myself, lighten up, because it's so easy to scrunch those threads together, those ground cloth threads together, and then you step back and you go, "What did I just do?" Yeah.
Right. And then once you've relaxed and you keep going, then you've got this spot that's looks
I know.
and the rest of it's fine, and got to go back and take it out.
Yep. Yeah, because so that's when, for me, that has to go right to the front of my consciousness. Constant reminder, quit yanking on that thing, quit yanking on it. Just let it lay there. Just keep going, let it lay. And I'm with you. She's 90 what and stitching in hand?
Well, her birthday is the 5th, and she'll be 90.
I got to applaud that long and loud. Wow.
Yeah.
And her eyes, obviously, her eyes are good enough. Wow.
She has macular degeneration in one eye. And she has she has peripheral neuropathy, so she has trouble holding on to the needle.
Uh-huh.
And she can't stitch for as long as she used to. But she stitches every day.
Wow.
For a while, maybe, I don't know, an hour or so.
Wow, that is to be applauded. That's fantastic, man. Oh, yep. And finding a way, peripheral neuropathy and eye problems, and still finding a way. That's impressive.
But I think it's one of those things that it helps you maintain your manual dexterity, and it's not thoughtless. You're following a chart.
Right.
And, you have to count. Well, she makes mistakes, and that frustrates her, but, well, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you rip it out or you move on and live with it. And so she's, I think it's good that she's still doing that kind of thing. I think it's good for her.
Yep. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that keeps people going is just that. My dad is 88, and he's a model train maniac, and he's in the basement all the time with his layout, and it's what keeps you going is that kind of stuff. Yep.
I think that for so many people, when they retire, they don't have something else that they're doing, and then they don't do with themselves.
Yep. It's true. It really is true. And needleworkers have that benefit. Yep. Finally, I have time.
I'm never bored. I can always pick up a piece of needlework and entertain myself for hours on end.
Yeah. Now, do you find, all right, now you're retired. Do you find that other things still get in the way of your stitching time, or are you able to carve out chunks where you can do it without encumbrance?
I do what I want to do.
Okay, all right, you win.
If I want to just put my feet up and watch a movie, I do it, or read a book or whatever. I don't really have I don't have anything I have to do. I mean, I go work out. I have a few things that I do that are on my schedule, but there's plenty of time to sit and stitch or read a book or whatever, and I don't feel the least bit guilty about just goofing off. I do want to. The entries at the fair have been decreasing in the needlework, so I'm going to do my part next year to try to increase that. So I do want to finish several things between now and next July.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to be a little more disciplined about it, and get some things out that I've started and get them finished.
Yeah.
And so I'll make a little more effort to because I don't stitch every day. I might stitch for 6 hours one day and then not do anything the next day.
Yeah.
So I will probably try to get a little more consistent about that so that I can get some things finished.
Yeah, well, see, that's interesting. So, yeah, you don't stitch every day, but it's not a frustration. Now, see, last week I started. Beth got me fired up, and I was going to at least put a length of thread in every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a picture at the beginning, so that was Monday when we recorded,
Mm-hmm.
and I was fantastic for 4 days.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. And then a parade of things got in the way, and I didn't do it. One night I had some time, but the whole day I was just so tired. I just knew that if I stitched it, I'd end up ripping it out, so I just didn't. Mm-hmm. And so I got 4 out of 7 days, and that frustrated me because all I had to do was put in 1 thread a day, and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that. So now I got to try again. I got to see, because I think that's a reasonable thing to try to do. And
Mm-hmm.
and in the 4 days that I stitched, I made good progress. And
Yeah.
and I was all right, this is working. And then 3 days where I didn't do it. So now I'm gonna start from scratch and do it again. And all right, we're gonna at least a thread a day. But it was some days where I didn't put in my thread and I'm in bed. Oh geez, I forgot. And so that's the difference. Yeah. So you just do it when you want to.
As wow, I got 4 out of 7 days. That's better than I did last week.
That's very true too. That's very true.
So you did. I think you did pretty good.
Okay, I'll take that.
And, when you're doing stuff like that, you have to. When you're working, or even if you're not working, stuff happens.
Yep.
You're busy. I really did not do much stitching when I was working during the week.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it wasn't relaxing to me because I don't usually do simple stuff.
Yeah.
Pay attention to it, and my attention span was gone at the end of. So I did most of my needlework the last several years on the weekends. And, 1 or 2 days, you don't really make a lot of progress.
Right.
But, that's okay. Doesn't matter. It's not a race. It's not a competition.
Right.
But, maybe it is a competition with yourself, to try to make an improvement over what you did the last week.
Well, but and you're right. I did 4 days over 0. Yeah. So, yeah, okay, I did.
Maybe your goal is to do at least 1 thread every other day.
Mm-hmm.
And if on the in-between days, then wow, you're really doing good.
It's sitting right here in the room where I work. It's just, it's right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right, I'm going to take that. I'm going to take that as a victory. I got 4 compared to 0. So now can I beat 4? All right. I'm going to take that. I'll try. Yep. All right. We're going to call it right there.
Okay.
That was fun. Tonight we're going to stitch and chat at 8:00 Eastern time. And with all the EGA things coming up, subscribe. So go to the YouTube channel and subscribe and click the bell, little bell icon that gives you notification whenever we do put something up. That way you'll get notified of everything we're doing at EGA and in general, but particularly for the EGA thing. So do that, and then go to our Instagram and subscribe there, or whatever it is you do there, like it, or whatever it is. But that way you'll get informed as we do all these things, particularly when we have events like the EGA seminar, where we're going to have a bunch of things. You'll want to see, because if you've never been to a seminar, we're going to try and show you what it's like, and that should be fun. So, yep. All right, Cindy, thanks. That was fun.
Yes. Thanks you, Gary.
Thanks to everybody for listening.